I mowed your lawn for you,
Did you really? You mean along the,
across the road,
was that you?
the big field, yeah. Yeah, put that all on. Now the next thing is to go and take down the vegetation that goes between the field and the road.
In the state right away?
Yes, but a right-of-way is still owned by the property owner. It's just a right-of-way, and there's no travel off the pavement that's allowed. You can, pull off a park, but if you go into the bushes, if you drip too much, then that's, kind of not legal.
That's very interesting, because we asked if we could do something in the right of way, and DOT told us.
See, you made the mistake of asking. You just do it and be like, oh, sorry.
Well, 40 years ago, Dean planted trees all along our right of way, and that was before any. So then the trees were all sick and dying and ready to come down, and he could not cut them down without getting permission from the state. The state said, finally said, yes, you can cut them down, but you can't.
I should have just shared it with you, Chris.
Because
Did you send it to me? Yeah, school board notes, it's called.
because it's such a steep hill.
It needs to be in, well, I guess it doesn't have to be in color, but any of
Oh,
yours.
yeah.
I can do it in color. That's okay, it doesn't really need to. Thank you so much for that, I appreciate it.
Just for the board?
No, just me.
Oh,
It's my notes, yeah.
you don't want your highlights?
He was coming, I spoke with him yesterday.
I see Marilyn at the gas station.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday. He was on my back porch yesterday. I could use a funny story. Not funny, like pull my hair out, but actually funny. Okay, so we'll wait for it. Okay. Because I was heavily medicated. Oh, no. Going into surgery. You can just imagine what I said when they kept saying to me, scoot down, scoot down. I was like, what am I having done? Well, honestly, nobody would get it but a woman, right? Because you honestly feel like.
They were laughing, they said, I can guarantee you we're not doing that, but we totally get what you're saying.
Right? Nobody gets it but women. I mean, you feel like that bed is never ending, right? Like, am I gonna fall off this table?
Embarrassing. How embarrassing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't like it. That's why I bring this. Get more flavor to it like that.
I like
that's better than Newport's water.
It's better than, the water on that Sunday Street's pretty clean.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's only a little bit brown.
Looks like they're gonna be digging that up tomorrow.
All right, we're gonna call our meeting to order. All right, Daryl,
Yes.
Tim,
Here.
Bert, and Jenna Darling here. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Fred yells at me all the time, but.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Are there any adjustments to the agenda by the board?
Objections or changes?
Any adjustments?
Adjustments. I would like us to add D and A to the non-public.
So D is property, and what was the other one?
A.
A dismissal, promotion, or compensation of employee. Right. Ms. Donna, what do you have?
I would like to add bus barn update, please, for E.
E, bus
Yep.
barn. All right. Okay, I will move that we make those adjustments. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Tim. Daryl, I need a roll call vote for that.
Darrell Jones, aye.
Tim,
Sam Beard, aye.
Bert,
Principal Encino.
and Jenna Darling, aye. All right, we are only missing Steve tonight. He's traveling. Hopefully he is traveling safely. And that will bring us to public comments. Craig Smith? Oh,
He'd like me to speak first.
okay,
That's
sure.
okay.
Absolutely. If you just like to go to the podium, just so that NCTV can hear. Are you Miss Simpson?
I am Mrs.
Okay, all right.
If, is it possible for me to give you some copies? You can just take one out, pass them around, might make a few extras. Want to make sure Donna got some. Okay. I'm Kelly Simpson. I live in Unity. I say that I'm parenting 2.0. I'm currently parenting a grandson and a foster child whom I both adopted. So, and prior to that, I had 4 children. All 6 of my children, we have chose to attend Newport High School. Chose, okay? I can bring my child anywheres that I can get him to. I could go to Hanover. We choose Newport. In Unity, we have complete choice of school. This year, Unity had 3 8th graders that wanted to come to Newport High School. They were gearing up for attendance here, and as proof of what you have been given, Unity parents have communication from Newport High School going as far back as May 17th, correct, but actually somewheres I couldn't find it. I know for a fact that in my case, my child who's going to be attending next week came here on February 24th for Shadow Day. As proof in those copies, communication was given to Mr. Smith, as well as me, that your school was welcoming our children. In July, y'all decided to come up with a policy, an application policy, and really blindsided us parents who then were shocked that we had to do this. And we all went through the motions and didn't know until approximately August 17th, that today is now the 24th, if our child was accepted or not, giving any parent who got denied 6 business days to make arrangements to go to another school. And that's after, on May 22nd, an email says, "We are looking forward to welcome your student as a freshman in the fall." I understand your policy and what you're trying to do, but you should have never made that policy effective for this school year. knowing parents were already expecting their kids to come here. And now Mr. Smith has to find another school for his child. Okay, let me get back to what I wrote. We choose Newport for a lot of reasons. We may work in Newport. We may travel through Newport to go to work. We may have come to Newport ourselves. I didn't. I still chose Newport. Your curriculum, your athletics, your CTE program, you should kind of see that it's an honor if we choose your school, frankly, because we can choose any. Already, I started to said that. My child was accepted, but I feel bad right now for this parent and this child. His parents, Craig and his sister both attended here. Craig's parents attended here. They live closer to Newport than they do Fall Mountain. Oh, nobody's close to Fall Mountain in Unity, but definitely closer to Claremont. Here's another good thing that some Unity residents could be. Fall Mountain provides us a school bus to get to their high school. Claremont provides a school bus at the town line to get to their school. Newport doesn't. But again, us parents, we choose to come here and transport here. You know, I have to think, in my case, if you hadn't accepted my new child, would I have had to pull my child that's about to be a junior, that is exceeding in your school? Because we're not going to have kids in two different high schools. I mean, that was a scary thought for me. I certainly didn't want to punish my older child if my younger child didn't get accepted, but again, he did, so no here nor there. Not every person interviews well. I'm standing here, I'm shaking at my knees, okay? I may not seem like I am, but I am. I know Adrian. I know you probably don't want to see it, but I'll tell you. Unity makes these kids do this capstone for graduation. I think it's ridiculous. We sat there in our seats for 3+ hours. I'm glad I never need to go through it again. I have a video of Adrian. He could not speak. He is so shy. He literally could not speak. Mrs. Schroeder, our principal, got up there and basically prompted him, and he would say a few words, but he just was too struck by the audience that he froze. I'm not going to say that he doesn't have some minor behavior issues. They're boys. They go to a school with 93 students. They spend all day long with the same kids. My grandson, the oldest one is a junior, had a few behavior issues as well. Although I do feel there's some, favoritism by teachers over males versus females, but no here, no there. But in my grandson's situation, when he came to Newport, he never was happy at Unity. When he came here, he literally, and if he wasn't at football right now and hadn't already missed the library book moving, I would have asked him to come here to speak. He literally used the words, "I love high school. I love high school." And he has had no behavior issues. And he has made the honor roll 7 out of 8 quarters. He missed one by 1 point, and let me tell you, he got a tongue licking. It was unacceptable to me that he missed it by 1 point. He loves Newport, and I really feel Adrian would too, and there wouldn't be any behavior issues if that is your reason for denying him. I'm not even very clear why you denied him. I do know he doesn't have an IEP because his father has divulged that, so he doesn't need special services either. I'm saying a lot of what I'm getting off my, he denied him full time here, buddy. Oh, so, if he chooses to go to Stevens, which is probably likely, I think, I don't know, he's going to want to come to your CTE program. He wants to do your forestry program. He wants to do your automotive program. So he's still going to be in your school. But now he's going to lose academic time in Claremont because he's got to ride the bus to come here. Think about that. I have read your policy. I have your policy with me. I do know it says there's no appeal process, but I do beg you, for his future, to change your mind and let him come here. They have minimal days to find a high school for him at this point. Show video. 6 days. The last thing I do, I am a very passionate person. And most of this really is as a parent, because if this happened to my kid, I'd be devastated. But as a school board member, I can't imagine making this policy and affecting these kids after all of the communication and the hard work that went into anticipating him here. You should have made that policy for next year. Thank you.
So I can't ask, like, why he was rejected, obviously, here, because it's public and we can't discuss it. But when we go to non-public, I'll ask more questions. But I thought our policy, and just correct me if I'm wrong, just being honest, I thought it was more pertaining to the Croydon contract, that we were going to, with their contract, that was, I know we wanted to eventually get into that, but we don't have that policy with Goshen, because we have a contract with Goshen. So I was under the impression that it was only pertaining to Croydon kids until next year when we renegotiate our other contracts.
No, it went for every district except for Goshen because of the fact that we have a pre-existing contract with them. And so their contract was already signed. We don't even have a contract at all with Claremont or Unity.
Right, and I know you said it
And
before.
so, it was all districts except for the district that we currently have, because we, at the end of this last school year is when we signed the contract for Goshen before we did all this. And so, this policy will take effect for Goshen next year because of the fact that when our policy becomes renewed. So it was all districts.
Any other questions from the board? Or statements? It's tricky because we can't ask a lot of questions right here, and I don't want to put any student on the spot. But I do appreciate.
I think though Craig wants to be open about it. I understand, right. No, I know. I might have said a few things that I shouldn't have said either, but I think it's important that you know. And, again, there was only, maybe this is a negative thing, there were only 3 new students that wanted to come, and I meant to look in my school board stuff, how many total from Unity come here currently, and I was kind of in a haste. But you had 3 kids that wanted to come here, and from my understanding, you accepted 2 and denied 1. It breaks my heart.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, do you want to still speak?
I think she pretty much said it.
All right, she said everything you wanted to say, right?
All right.
I didn't really feel discriminated, really.
Okay.
I really do. I don't want to like pulling straws.
We're saying tough, because I hate
Where I
sitting
don't
here,
need no help, never had it.
but I hate sitting here and not being able to respond, but because of what we're talking about, I can't.
Right,
I
right.
can't, you just can't, and it makes me tough. So please don't think that the board's like, screw it, they don't care. It's not that, it's just,
Right.
I would ask questions, but I can't, you know, if it was a
Yeah.
meeting where it was just us and yourself, of course, then we could ask questions, but, because of privacy stuff and whatever, you know, we have to be super careful what we say. So please don't think that it's just like, yeah, we don't care, it's not that.
Right.
It's just, we can't ask certain questions publicly.
So some of the stuff I gave you pertained to my child. And just to show you the dates, that even my paperwork was like shadow day, step up day. You know, your kid is coming. We had a
That's
transition
how we
meeting in
felt.
June.
We're prepared for Newport, truly.
I just wanted to, as you know, I'm like very transparent with certain things. The step-up day, the parent forums, all those things are open to all families. So it's not that those are families that are accepted into our district. It's open to anyone that wants to come here. So even if there was a child from Manchester that wanted to come, they would get this same, you know, where we get students from Leominster, we get students from other districts, all students would get this. So it's not students that have been accepted. So this is a generic letter that goes out to families.
What letter are you pertaining to? Because I had a transition meeting with your staff, as per your copies, in June. A transition meeting with a bunch of your staff, which I've highlighted, but yet in July, had to apply. And just, you know,
I know, I do know that, I do know
we're not gonna have a transition meeting if my kid's not coming here. I would hope, don't waste my time, your time, and all their time, and Unity's time, and send you, you know, a stack of school records. But,
that. I don't think we get their school records.
oh, you
Well-
had his.
Well, legally, we're not supposed to, so I'll have to look into that, because parents have to
Actually,
sign out
you needed
records.
his IEP to have that transition.
Oh, probably for that piece, yes, but usually we can't have school records transfer from one school to another unless we have signature from the parent or guardian. But I'm more than happy to talk to them.
Yeah, I think we have, the board has some questions in non-public. that we'll
Yes,
ask.
and there's, just so the public's aware, there's 4 criteria that we look at when students are coming to ours. It's the educational need of the applicant. So we look at, do we have the items in our buildings? Do we have the people in our building? Do we have things in our building that will meet the needs of the student? The second piece is the application. It's prior commitment to education. So we look at past grades and their commitment to education. Then we look at their behavior records from school. And then we look at the attendance. So if they hit even one of those, then that could be a denial process. If they hit one, sometimes we can do a little bit more checking further. What I can add is that I have been told, and I can share this with Dad, that your son actually was very polite and pleasant at the interview. So it wasn't the interview piece that would have denied any process. So he was very polite and talkative and was able to communicate with the team. So he did go well. So he was very polite.
All right. That's good. All right, so then that will bring us to Mr. Lund. Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have a problem getting kids to, or anyone, to film sports. I have had for years. Over the last 5 years, I have managed, with my doing a lot of the sports and with other, with some patchwork here and there with other people, managed to get all the sports recorded and half of them even broadcast live. So we've had soccer, we've had basketball, we've had field hockey and football. Almost every game we've been able to do. And I've been pushing it through. And during those years, I've also tried to get other people involved. I've tried to, through the coaches, I've tried through bus drivers, seeing if they would film games. I've tried through the team during their orientation, asking if they would get involved and do this. I've asked the athletic director, and I've asked the public, and to very little avail. Unfortunately, at this year, I don't have the time to do it anymore. I can't film the sports. Otherwise I'm spending day and night constantly behind a camera or at work, because Susan, my employee, has moved on to some other things that she's doing. And so I've taken on most of the jobs that NCTV does. And so filming those sports and getting out there has become impossible for me. And I put out a call on Facebook to ask people, and I'm putting one on TV, and there have been some response, some patchwork coming in, but I want to make the plea to you as a board, as an administration, as a school, as a public that may be watching, that I think it's important. I don't think that any other school in the area has managed to get absolutely everything on the air in their sports. And I know we're a sports town, and I know football is important. Field hockey's starting tomorrow, and they're all, this is just home games, but there are 30 or 40 games that need to be covered, and I'm not sure what to do to keep this alive. And so I'm making a plea to you as the board and the administration and teachers and coaches and anybody, if you can push people, help people, encourage people. The kids can get, we pay to a stipend for people to record. We will give community hours to kids who will record. Somebody who is on the varsity team could record the junior varsity, and then vice versa if they're both there on the same night. You could, as I said, I tried the bus drivers. If they're there at an away game, they could record it, and earn a little money to do that. My board has allocated money to be able to pay stipends. We can't pay a lot, but we pay $30 a game or $20 an hour if it goes on longer than that, for the amount of time that gets spent. And as I say, there's community hours. So I need help in order to keep this dream alive, and I think people have taken it for granted. I got responses from people saying, well, why can't we just keep the sports going, without realizing that I was out there on the field 50% of the time doing that, just as I am recording a lot of other things to keep things going. I primed the pump because I want this to continue. I wanted it to happen. So. That's the first thing, and the most important. The other is I just wanted to update you a little bit on what I've been spending this summer doing is scheduling. We have 12,000 programs on NCTV right now that we have downloaded and recorded. 2,000 of those shows are local that we have done. Sports, meetings, events, graduation, all those different things, people doing shows, us doing news shows, all that stuff. So I have just spent the summer going through all of them and organizing a schedule that's probably the first really complete, accurate schedule where you can find this show at this time, this show at this time. So there will be weekly shows of science, of old movies, of history, local history, regional history, arts, and they're all subdivided into categories so that during the week you can really find different programming as well as our live programming and our other programs. So I'd like to encourage anybody to tune in and see what we've done, because it's not programming you're going to get on any other channel. You're not going to find it on your streaming channels, and you can watch us online, you can watch us on our TV, but you can also see us on Apple and Roku. So I encourage people to give us another look if they think, oh, here comes that boring NCTV. There's a lot of stuff we've done, arts, history, outdoor stuff, science, just all sorts of different subjects that we have downloaded and from local, other public access in the region, and it's mostly New England stuff. So I hope people will encourage you, but please get back to me if you've got any ideas, any help you can do that we can get the sports going. I'm hoping I can find somebody at least to start tomorrow for the 2 games, and then there's one on Monday. Then there's a week with a bit of a gap, but we really need to get people behind the camera, and half of them will go live.
this just home games, or is it home and away?
This is just home games. The away games, that would be where we could, where it would be great to have the V team tape the JV and vice versa, or when they bring friends along. I have also offered kids to go on the bus and travel with them and do it, but money doesn't seem to be as much of an incentive as one would have thought, as it might have been. So it's hard. It's been really tough to do that. And after 5 years now of doing this, I'm a bit disappointed, but very frustrated that it hasn't happened, and that I can't get it to really take off the ground on its own. Patchwork is fine. If somebody could come in and do one game, I can set up a schedule. Somebody wants to do a whole season, that's fine. Somebody can go for a week. It's whatever I can get. And I've got 3 or 4 people that have already said somebody who's going to do wrestling and some middle school stuff, which is not as critical for people who are watching, but it's great for everybody to be able to see. So I'm glad that somebody wants to come forward and do that. Anything like, if you're at the game or your kid wants to do it, the cameras are so easy to use.
That's what I'm thinking, if I can get, my older kids.
Yeah. You just open the door of the camera and point it and hit the record button and then follow the action. That's all you have to do. And when it's over, you close the door of the camera and it turns it off. It's not like it used to be back in the 90s when you were doing it. You had these big cameras and these huge mounts and wires everywhere. It's all remote. And if it's live, I would be there to set it up, so that I would set up the stream and make sure that it's going live, so that you're just running a camera. I wouldn't expect somebody to go plugging in the Ethernet and trying to get all that to work. That's a problem. You have to kind of stay quiet. Yes, I've had people who've said, "Well, I want to cheer and make a lot of noise," and that wouldn't work. Yeah, unless I could put a remote mic and you could put it down there and then you could make noise. You can. I have somebody who did play-by-play for the entire basketball season last year. But we had it all set up, and he was doing the whole thing, and he had the team rosters, and he wants to do that again this year. But for just a one-off game, if you're going yay team and no team, we're trying to. It's probably better if you kind of keep your voice down, and those around you who maybe sometimes you have to tell the kids around you, you're being recorded. Because we can't get rid of that. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Hi. So tomorrow is the first day back for teachers and professional staff, but teachers really began their work about 2 weeks ago. As soon as we got the all clear from the custodians that we could be back in the building and the buildings were ready, teachers started going in and unpacking all of the supplies, books, materials. It would be astonishing to see all of the things that the teachers have to do to get their classrooms ready. So over the past 2 weeks, I've watched teachers come in on their unpaid last few days of vacation to set up their classrooms, get them ready to be warm and welcoming and ready for education. Today, the Richard School leadership team met and we reviewed the school board goals, which was fantastic. And then we began the work of setting up our professional learning community. So what that does is we are doing 2 different professional learning groups. We're going to be meeting this year as grade level and then meeting also as vertical learning teams. And we're setting up criteria for how are we going to look at the data? How are we going to make decisions about curriculum? How are we going to decide when to move forward? What are we going to do about interventions? And how will we help those students who excel? Because we don't talk about that enough either. So we spent the whole day, the Moose Hall was generous and let us use their space, looking ahead at how we can help the school board meet their goals and most importantly, how the students can move ahead. The energy and enthusiasm in that room was palpable. It was really excited. The Newport teachers are already working hard, and they're really excited to be moving our schools forward. I'm excited about the 2023-24 school year. Thank you.
All right. With that, that brings public comment to a close. So let's do approval of the public minutes, August 11th, 2023. Is there a motion?
How about some changes?
All right, we'll start with
The 11th,
that.
and that would be also in the case of the non-public.
Just on the agenda. The agenda's wrong.
Oh, yeah, the agenda's wrong, sorry. Sorry about that.
Of the minutes, page 6. Under Chairman Morris, the second line up from the bottom, meeting pursuant to 91A, Roman 2, C, I and K. That needs to be A and K. I was not applicable to the discussion.
Okay. I'm actually gonna make a motion that we table both of these minutes because it will be 2 abstentions and then 2 votes. Wouldn't that fail it? Oh, no, because we'd have no nays, right?
Because it wouldn't pass because you don't have a quorum.
We have a
3
quorum.
vote.
Well,
If 2 table, if they've,
they're gonna have to abstain
Yeah.
because they weren't here. So I guess if we vote aye, so I withdraw that, never mind. So, okay. Sorry. All right. So then I would, I'd move the public minutes of August 10th with that one change on page 6. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor? Aye? You can't.
I can't.
You can't. You weren't here. You have to abstain. So there will be no no's, and then abstain will be Tim and Daryl. Okay. All right, so the non-public minutes of August 10th.
We have to take Tim off.
Where's Tim?
Adjournment.
Non-public.
Oh, up. Yeah, on page 3 it says that Tim adjourned.
I was on vacation, but I was trying to get you guys out of the meeting.
Thank you, appreciate that. I bet you that was myself, but we can,
Blame Steve because he's not here.
we'll have to ask Steve because he has those notes.
I was beginning to wonder as I went through the minutes and saw all these 3-0 votes that, where the ghost was, well,
Right.
you know.
I'm
before
gonna
we
guess
got
it
to
was me,
non-public.
but I will double check with, Steve.
Then we also have to change the C, I,
Right.
and K.
Well, I would move to approve those minutes pending those changes and checking with Steve on who made the motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Same.
Okay. And Daryl, you will
abstain.
abstain as well. Okay. All right, very good. We have no student representative report tonight. So that brings us to information and action program of studies.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
All right, so there's a couple changes that they wanted to make to the program of studies. The first one is to change the senior math topic course name to personal finance. And personal finance is a new requirement. This course, I don't know if you want me to read what the course focuses on, I did send that out to you, but,
It's good
I
for
can
the public, I think.
Yeah. This course focuses on ideas, concepts, knowledge, and skills that will enable students to implement beneficial personal finance decision-making choices. This includes becoming wise, successful, and knowledgeable consumers, savers, investors, users of credit, money managers, and participating members of a global workforce and society. Algebraic ideas will be embedded throughout problems and situations and financial literacy. This course will allow students to improve numbers and operation concepts and reasoning skills by exploring real-world situations. They would also like to add VLAX as a personal learning literacy option under general elective. This course description is learning to make sound financial decisions is one of the most important decisions a student can learn. In this course, students will learn financial decision-making skills using real-life applications and data. The primary content for this course focuses on learning the idea, concept, knowledge, and skills that will enable students to implement beneficial personal decision-making choices. This includes becoming a wise, successful, and knowledgeable consumer, saver, investor, user of credit and money managers, and participating members of a global workforce and study. And then the personal financial literacy is a half-credit elective and is offered as an option for students to receive honors credit. And the last thing, they wanted to add a running start notice to personal finance and planning, which is a business class.
Okay, so there's a requirement to take personal finance for seniors.
Yes.
And then there will be the additional VLAX option for students? Is that
Yes.
just to give them another avenue or time in which to
Yeah,
take
so
the
VLAX
course?
is an online.
Online?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then running start notice to personal finance and planning. That's a business class.
Is it replacing a current? Is it replacing something that's current?
The senior math topic course is changing its name to personal finance.
So it's just a name change?
Yes.
No, it's more than a name change if you direct them in that direction, more.
Right, it's a requirement, so it's something that they have to take.
The new RSA.
Yeah, it's under the new RSA.
Yes. But with more emphasis,
Yes, because they have to take it.
as I read it, it's 100% correct.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to manage your finances, you're in deep doo-doo.
Yes, and that's why I think they're saying kids are gonna have to take it now.
So my hope would be that it gets greater focus. You can be fairly well educated, but if you can't handle money, you're
Well, they won't graduate.
They won't graduate without that class, so.
Yep.
I don't know how much more focus you can get than that, so. Right? Well, that's true. Is there a motion to approve the changes to the program of studies?
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes unanimously. Okay, CT building permit update.
Yes, so I wanted to report out, I'm very happy to report out that we have received the building permit. And we will be looking to break grounds the first week of September. So we're looking at maybe doing a ceremony then for the breaking of the ground of the new CTE building. The other thing that we're also looking at is doing a ribbon cutting at the end. So we're looking at, do we do both? Do we do one? Do we, so we're right now trying to figure out how we want to work that. And so any thoughts from the board would be greatly appreciated if you think that doing both would be a great thing for us to do. I would like to do both. It's a way to bring our community together again and show them what we're going to be doing, and then they can see the final product at the end.
I would be in favor of both. It's just me. I say that, but depending on when you do it, I can't
Just
come,
make sure-
so.
Just make sure I understand, ribbon cutting at the beginning,
And then when the building's all complete?
Other way around. So you do a ribbon cutting when the building's complete, and kind of like a groundbreaking, they show like
Oh,
people
all
with a
right.
shovel.
Okay. No, I understand.
I don't know why we needed to do that.
I know, we just showed the shovel. I'm glad you did it with me though, so.
Simultaneous shovel.
Is there gonna be a celebration for just getting the building permit?
I know, there was. It was hand delivered to me, so I was very thankful for that.
That's very good. Very good.
Sounds like a good idea.
I agree.
Okay, so you're thinking, the board, I mean, it's not something the board has to vote on, but I, obviously would like their feedback and.
I think it's a huge reason to celebrate in Newport, so I say celebrate the start of this and then celebrate the completion.
Now, how are we gonna publicize it to get more interested people here for that? Because that's a great idea, but I think we gotta,
Could we ask Steve if they could do a donation thing at that time? So people could come and buy a brick, come to.
Oh, yeah, we can ask,
you know,
yeah.
yeah?
I think they're doing the bricks, right? Or the
Yeah.
pavers?
That'd be a great kickoff.
Right,
Yes, it
Yeah.
would.
right.
Yeah, I will look into that as well.
All right, well, I guess that ties into the land update for C.
Yes, so the select board has met and approved the MOU for the CTE land. We're just waiting for the necessary signatures. So when they did the approval at their last meeting, they approved the MOU, but they didn't approve for Barry to sign it. And so at the next meeting, they're gonna vote on Barry signing it. So we're just waiting for that, but I believe that's gonna be at the very next select board meeting. So we'll have to, the good thing is our board has already in advance approved Steve signing it. So as soon as Barry signs it, we can sign it, so.
Very good. Great. I'm thankful that that did not hold up the permit,
Yes,
so
me too.
that's very good. Okay, that brings us to D, budget adjustments. Rob,
Yes,
I
in
think
your
you're-
packet, you have the budget adjustments from the budget for the new fiscal year, FY '24, as well as the budget adjustments for the year end of FY '23. The first few sheets are for the current year. We're reallocating some of our account lines. Some of the supply lines were all on a district-wide, so we've moved out the budget lines at the building level so we can better track expenditures by building. That's basically what that was. And then a few pages later, it starts your FY '23 year-end budget adjustment. You can read in the memo line. And that is just typical, I think you do it every year,
Yeah,
based on your expenditures, balancing your budget to reflect realistic expenditure account lines.
Okay, so can we just focus on fiscal year '24 for just a second? So I understand what you were saying. Does this align with how we created the budget for this fiscal year where we took some funds from the building and brought it up to the district level so we could track it better, or am I misunderstanding that?
Actually, I think you mean the opposite. So,
I mean the opposite. I
if you
could,
look on
I'm tired.
page, let me see.
so if I.
Page one, yeah, go ahead, sure.
So what we did is some of the lines we took and we moved into the district.
Right.
When, and we did that when Diane was here.
Right.
So Ed and Rob came to me and we sat down and spoke. And they said, it's very complicated for us to do the DOE 25 because there's certain items that we have to specify how much was exactly spent in each building. And we can't do that if everything is in one lump sum.
Okay.
And so what they did is they asked if they could take some of those things and move them back into the building. So this way, when they do the DO 25, it's just, they can
'Cause we have to-
run a record.
We have to report expenditures by elementary, middle, and high school. So if we separate them back out into separate account lines, it'll be easier to report it later. It just keeps it.
It's still under, like Kerry's lines are still under special ed, curriculum is still under curriculum. But what they did is so if we run something for curriculum, they still get all that. So we still have that piece. They just wanted to go a step further, so when they do the reporting, they don't have to sit there and go line by line and try to guesstimate how much was spent.
Okay.
in each building.
But
So,
it's not for everything, right?
No, I mean, you still have some district-wide expenditures.
Yeah.
So those stay the same.
is this going to change, I can ask either one of you, is this going to change the way that we do the budget again this year? Or are those funds gonna now go back out to the building level permanently when we create the budget that way?
It would be better
It makes me nervous going
from one to the other.
Yeah.
back, and I want it to look like, I think we were all really pleased with the way the budget looked last year and how cohesive it is, and I'm okay making the adjustments, it's just when it starts to
I
move
think
around.
you'll start seeing the same. It'll be kind
Okay.
of the same. So you'll know
All right.
each line that went up and where and why.
Okay.
So we'll still do the same process
Okay.
that we did, why this was up by $5,000 and this is why. We're still gonna do the same, follow the same
Okay.
format.
Or,
I agree with it. It is a large movement of money, but the requirement to make it so that you don't have to go through the MS-25 with significant refiguring. But the more changes that we make, the more confusing it gets for the followers. So I would suggest that we do this and keep it, and that way. So you're looking for a motion for
Yes, please.
journal entry number 309 for $1,547,552.16. I want to know where the 16 cents came from.
Found it on the floor.
Oh, okay, and it was considered revenue. Okay, got it.
okay, so you're going to do them separately?
I can do them all together if you like.
Okay, so that was for 309. Okay,
I move journal entry number 325 for $53,436. I would separate the
fiscal years.
23, 24.
okay. So both of those, journal entry 309 and 325 were for fiscal year '24. Is there a second for those two budget adjustments?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay, now for fiscal year, I'm sorry. Maura, I was wrong. Those were for fiscal year '23. Now we need to do fiscal year '24. Is there a motion for those? You want me to do it?
I'm okay with it, but I have asked the business administrator to rationalize all credits over 50,000. And I did not ask for it now at this meeting, at a later date. So I would move journal entry number 7. What am I missing here?
There's 7.
Yeah, I've got 7 on the front here.
There's the total.
Yep, 7, page 3. And number 8, I guess. But I gotta get the total. For number 7, the million total is 1,479,100. And then 8 is for $773.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of those adjustments? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rob.
I would like to put a statement at that so that the public understands, because it's a lot of money being moved and it's their money that's being moved. It is not much different than the current car you're driving. Has a large maintenance expense, so you buy a replacement, and rather than put the money into the car you had as maintenance, which you already had set aside, you put it into the new one. It is just moving money. It doesn't change the income or expenses sides of it. It just changes the pockets that the money is in. Is that fair to say, Rob?
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. That brings us to E, bus barn.
Yes, so I wanted to just give an update on what's been going on with the bus barn. So we have a contractor that is for powered garage doors, Daryl, they are powered.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and he's looking to install the two new doors on October 3rd, pending the doors arriving on time. We had one contractor look at the slab, we're waiting on that quote. We're looking for at least 2 more contractors to give quotes. We do not need the slabs in before the garage doors are installed. The garage door contractor knows that the slab is going in. We are still working on the outside office space. Rodney has reached out to an electrician for the electrical work, and he's waiting to hear back about that. I did hear from Paul today. He had said that the select board have showed an interest in allowing us to have the outside space for, to put whether it be a trailer, or we had talked about a building out there, and as long as, they're talking about as long as it meets the building codes, that they're not going to have an issue with it. And Paula has made a couple of recommendations, and I'm gonna put something together to meet with the transportation committee, which I know Daryl is part of and Bert is part of, to kind of talk about that and see how they want to move forward with that piece.
Thank you.
Bert?
Donna, I'd like to know more, significantly more. What's the thickness of the slab? What are they putting in? Are they separating it into sections? I'd like to know the minutia. And that all being said, everything that you could give me, I would receive.
Hasn't that been specified for bidding process, or do we still need to do that?
Well,
I think it has. Didn't you speak to Josh Stevens, who did our first quote? I thought you spoke with him about what he was quoting us on.
No, all I spoke to him was that he did.
Okay.
And so it is the detail. It isn't the job, it's the detail. This is, once you put that slab in, it's done.
Correct.
You're never gonna change it, period, under any circumstance. So how does it drain? Where does the drainage go to, et cetera? Are you putting in a 4, 5, or 6 inch slab? What are you doing? Are you attaching it to what's there, or is it gonna float? I would like all of that detail before we make a commitment.
Yeah, we're not making any commitments anyway, we're just looking at quotes right now before. I'm sure we can find out exactly what was being quoted. I can get that information, to find out exactly what we were looking for to be quoted. I apologize, I thought you had reached out to Josh Stevens and was gonna meet with him and talk to him about that, so I apologize.
Well, that still would not have done it.
Or in my experience, we're gonna have to have at least a 6-inch thick reinforced concrete base because of the weight of the buses, right?
And
Any thinner than that, and we have huge temperature differences from the common wall with the town garage area and the outside perimeter of the building. So we're gonna have to do something to I'm gonna say insulate for lack of a better word right now, but to protect it from that.
to not attach.
Yeah,
You've got a 70-degree slab over here, and you got a 20-degree slab here.
yep.
Were we
We'll
gonna,
get that information.
were we gonna put heat in that building?
So, yeah, so what's gonna end up happening is our CTE automotive, the heating elements that are in there are gonna be replaced with the newer updated ones, and we're gonna take those and move those there.
Okay. Can I jump right in and ask for all the information that it pertains to that piece of property? the bus garage, however it's done, what's going in it, where it's coming from, all of the information.
I know Daryl and I spoke yesterday, and we talked about getting together with the committee, because we have a committee that, a transportation committee, so our committee will get together and we can talk about all this stuff.
Just don't want to put all those funds in and
Yep.
put in a 4-inch slab when we need a 6-inch reinforced slab.
It'd be very
Yes,
embarrassing to
exactly.
explain
It
to
would
the
be
town.
very, very embarrassing, yes.
Okay, say it again, like all of it.
You're part of the committee. You're on the committee. You'll get all of it, sir.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about the bus barn? All right, very good. That brings us to new hires. I will do this because I usually do it. And if anybody wants to speak,
If it's easy to read a mind, I just do it like this.
okay.
It's easy for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I will move Deborah Scranton for high school English, MA step 9, $49,573. Michael Darrow, middle school arts, BA step 1, $37,379. Tucker Guyette, middle school English, bachelor's step 1, $37,379. And Ellen Stiles for preschool, very good. Bachelor's step 1, $37,379. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna also add Teresa Twist Waterman, 4th grade, BA step 1, $37,379. Do you still?
So amended.
So amended, okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Did you still have Spencer Cromas on that?
He was last
He was last time. Okay, very good. Did anybody want to speak to any of them? No? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Thank you very, very much, and welcome to the Newport School District. Okay, resignations.
Yes, so we actually have 3 resignations. A high school family consumer science teacher, 6th grade math teacher, and English second language teacher.
Okay. And does that remain the same of we're looking for their replacements?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, so it would be the same. I'm asking the board to, as I usually do. Actually, they pay a fee. They pay a %, so I'm asking the board to release them if they pay the percentage of their contract, which is in their teacher contract. That's what they do.
Okay. Is there a motion for those resignations? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? I wish all 3 of them well. Thank you for their service to the Newport School District. Committee report outs. It's usually Steve's job.
I know, I think there is any.
No? Okay. Policies, we have none tonight. So that brings us to communication. We'll start with administration.
Sure. So again, I just wanted to talk about the Back to School Festival, which is this Saturday, where we'll be giving away backpacks and supplies. This, again, it'll be here at our location. It'll be from 9 to 3 on the lawn. And then, as I told you last time, it's gonna be a larger event. What we'll do is we're gonna have certain tables set up, and we will have families come to the SAU table first, where they will receive a backpack, and then they'll be instructed to go to whatever grade they're in, and at that table, whatever school they go to, will be the supplies that they will need for the school year located at those tables, so they'll get to meet maybe some teachers or building principals or whomever is taking that. We also have transportation department is gonna be there, so we'll have a bus on hand for kids to get on the bus if there's any questions, they'll be able to answer questions about transportation, so we're pretty excited about that. And then we'll have Richards PTO will be here. Pathways has called and asked if they could have a booth set up on our lawn to talk to parents about what they have to offer. And so we had said, yes, they can, and I'm very excited about that. I think eventually what's gonna end up happening is we're gonna have to do it on a separate day, and we may have to use the common, because I think we're just gonna grow bigger and bigger, and we're gonna have to have our own event. So we're pretty excited about that. I know Bryn's gonna talk about New Staff Week, so I'll let her talk about that, but on Friday, tomorrow's is the first day for our teachers to come back, so we're excited to have, even though they've been back, they've been in the building setting things up, tomorrow's their first official day back, and we have some really good workshops planned for them to go over, one of them being the new math program. We have the all-day program for math. I know that was a question, is there going to be training? So yes, tomorrow is one of the days that they're gonna be going through the all-day training for the math. And we're excited to welcome our kids back in the building. The first day of school for Richards, I know it can be a little bit complicated on how it works because we do it a little bit different. So Wednesday, first and second grade orientation is gonna be, or first day of school, will be Wednesday, August 30th, and that is for first and second grade from 8:15 to 12:20. So parents need to be aware that that is a half day for them. Wednesday, August 30th, preschool and kindergarten will have an orientation night at 4:30 to 5:30. And then on Thursday, the 31st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade will have their first day of school, and that will also be from 8:15 to 12:20. And then Tuesday, September 5th, all grades will be back and school starts at 8:15. You can start dropping off at 7:50. The middle and high school, their first day of school for Wednesday, we're doing the same thing, Wednesday, August 30th and the 31st. Both again are early release days. They go from 7:30 to 11:30. On Wednesday, the 30th, it's grades 6, 9, and 10. On Thursday, August 31st, it's grades 7, 8, 11, and 12. Both schools will be holding their parent orientation night on Wednesday, August 30th at 6 p.m. And I want to welcome, we had an amazing event. I think we had 22 new staff members there today, including
Started
parents.
with 18 at the beginning of the week and ended with 22.
So that's a good
way to go up and not down.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, but I'll let Bryn talk about that, this exciting week. It's been great. How many days was it last year? 2? 2 days, so we went from 2 days to 4 days, so.
Yeah, so as Donna said, we started with 18, ended with 22. And that included paras, teachers, our new conduct counselor was there from Richards. So a lot of different, we had one person who got hired like in April of last year, and I took my microphone away. And so we invited her also because she didn't get the orientation and she just kind of was thrown in, and so she wanted to come, the guidance counselor from Richards. So that was really nice that she was able to join us. We spent, Monday we provided lunch for them, and it was nice. They got to meet their mentors, if mentors were available, and they had lunch and met administrators, and it was really a week about building relationships, and by the end of the week it was the group really bonded, and I heard several times that thank you so much for doing this. It just made them feel much more at ease, and I know Shannon and I were talking about it, how some of them kind of felt like they could breathe a little bit today. But we went through things like Power School and Frontline, and building relationships with kids, building relationships with other adults in the building. You name it, we did some learning around it, so it was really nice. And today we ended with the Cruising Cow coming, and if you don't know what that is, it is an ice cream truck that is in the area now, and so they came in. That's how we ended our week. It was really nice. So.
Sure, I'll just talk about, I'm really excited for tomorrow. We have a full day planned for all staff, but this will be the first time that I have the Student Services Department all together, really doing training specific to what, we're gonna do and roll out for the year. We have, the new student services manual to review, and, it just feels really nice to be able to give them the materials and everything they need before they start. And also, the thing I'm looking forward to the most tomorrow is just being able to bond as a team and really create some relationships with folks. So super excited about tomorrow. I think in terms of this summer, we talked about summer school ending very, very nicely. I think there were some great experiences for kids. I think we're even more excited to open the school year for year 2, being here and just having, that foundation and being able to hit the ground running a little faster.
I don't know if I can go much faster.
But
Oh, me? Okay. I added to the packet before you arrived. There's a couple of financial reports from the general ledger. One is expenditures, that's the thicker one. The thinner one is revenues. The important numbers to look at are at the very end, of course. The final revenue tally is $261,213.65, balanced against the, in addition to the leftover budget balance of $15,338.31. So if you calculate that with the unreserved fund balance, the final amount that's going to be returned to the town to offset taxes is going to be $253,166.09, which is a little bit higher than the $200,000 estimate that was done at the beginning of the budget year last year. So we're anticipating an extra $53,000 to be added to the funds that are going to be returned to the town. And that should reduce the tax rate by about 7 cents additionally from what we initially thought it was going to be. In other news, the DOE 25, we did get a request for an extension past the September 1st date has been approved. I don't think we're going to need it. We've been working on it this week and next week, and it's looking pretty good. So I think we're right on schedule. If we do spill over a couple days, nothing to worry about because we do have that 30-day extension, and it's a nice safety net to have in case we have to use it. So that's it.
If I could just add one more thing, I just want to say that hiring paras this year has been very successful. And what is even better is that we had a few paras that had to leave last year due to finances, and they were able to come back. So we're pretty excited about that. I think last year, boy, we needed a lot of paras down at Richards, and I think right now they just needed one. They just need one right now, and that is because of the fact that we've actually had paras move into teacher roles. So.
Okay, that brings us to board communication. I'll go down the line. Daryl, do you have anything? No? Tim? Welcome back.
Thanks. Just want to clarify first. When you said the money was going back to the town, and to the taxpayers, that's what I meant.
That's what I meant.
It's very important. Because someone out there is like,
What do you mean that school's giving the town money?
back to the taxpayers.
That's really
No, I feel very positive about going into this year. I obviously spent all summer at the school working, and I saw Mr. O, Mr. Bailey there most of the summer, and I had asked Mr. Bailey the other day, I was like, hey, do you feel more prepared and everything? And I knew the answer anyways, but he said, yeah, and I just feel like the team there between Mr. O and Mr. Bailey, I think we'll have a pretty successful year. Shout out to all the custodial staff and all the work they've done this summer. It's been nuts. It's crazy, and like I said, I've seen it firsthand because I've been there, and then like tractor trailer loads of stuff showed up today, and they were offloading out there too. So they've done a great job, and yeah, excited the kids are going back to school. Let's make it a great year. Schools, what you can make of it. So that's about it.
Bert, do you have anything?
It's a new year. A lot of changes in the right direction.
I would like to thank our facility staff. I know they do an amazing job every single year, and I know that they don't get thanked enough. I'd like to thank all the teachers that have come in on their time off. My shirt says that you got this. Doesn't really feel like it right now, at least for me, but as I sat in math training this morning, but that's okay. But just, we have incredible educators here and that are, you can't speak highly enough of them. I'd like to welcome the new hires that we've hired all summer long. It's exciting to hear that our para situation is vastly improved, it sounds like, and I think that's a testament to our dedication as a district, and I'd like to see that continue. So, welcome to the 23-24 school year. So, with that, I will make a motion to enter into non-public under 91-A. Is it really 3? Isn't it 2?
Yes.
3. Okay.
2, A3.
A3, Roman numeral 2. Thank you. Under A, D, K, and L. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I need a roll call vote. Daryl?
Aye.
Tim?
Samir, aye.
Bert?
Rich Walling Senior.
And Jenna Darling, aye. 6:13. I don't know if we'll be taking any action, but we will come back out if we do. Yes.